Enjoy the podcast tonight. Enjoy the podcast tonight.
What is up, everyone? It is time once again for Mock Draft Monday, our weekly ritual leading up to the NFL draft, where we look at all things Arizona Cardinals mock drafts and a few other things. And I am delighted to be joined by my good friend Tone of Protech Sports, Washington Commanders fan. I've been on his channel before, just a generally good guy. So I'm really glad to have him hanging out with us. Tone, say hey to the folks and tell everyone kind of where they can find you.
Man, what's going on with y'all, man? What's up with y'all, man? It's your boy Tone, aka Tech, man. We back with another collab, man. Shout out to my man. Shout out to Jay for having me on here tonight. Shout out to Joseph, man. I very appreciate you, bro. Always great content on here. Probably one of my favorite Cardinals careers to watch. So, you guys subscribe to him. You guys are getting some really great content, some great quality, great analysis, very in depth. So, I take some pointers from him as well. So, I don't think it's a one-way street. I take points from other people as well. So, shout out to bro. That's really dope stream tonight. I like the format he has for you guys tonight, so it should be very fun. You guys can find me at the PSN Commanders Network. I did change my name recently. On YouTube, you can follow me on X at PSN042893. And follow me on Instagram at Protech Sports Network _. I do mostly Washington Commanders content, like he also stated, but also do other stuff. I have a mock draft of the NFC West, so not just all Commander stuff. It's a little bit of sprinkle of everything, a little bit of Bears content for them Bears fans, for the whole Caleb Williams stuff. So I sprinkle a little bit of everything, and not just all Commanders. So you want to subscribe? I very appreciate the support.
Awesome. Well, I've got Tony's links to Twitter and the YouTube channel in the description of the video, so y'all can find it there for sure. Real quick, let me say some of the folks in the chat. We got D West 63, Rise Up Red Sea. We got Robert Moore. Good evening, gents. We got Cruz Aspuro. Just came to say hi. What's up, Joe? Appreciate you, Cruz. Thanks for stopping by. Appreciate you. All right, so we're going to get into it. And one of the things I always do to get things started is I do a player profile, right? Oh, we got Drew McWhorter. Happy Mock Draft Monday, y'all.
Yes, sir. Mock Draft Monday, baby. Let's get it.
Woo. All right, so I'm going to start with the player profile. Last week we did 2 interior offensive linemen, and we're going to do another interior offensive lineman. Someone who, though the person I profiled last week was someone who would be like a 6th or 7th rounder probably. This is someone who's going to be, if the Cardinals were to go after him, would have to be much earlier. In fact, there's a chance he'll be off the board before they would actually look to take him, because generally speaking, Monty's history, or the Patriots when he was with them, and what I kind of projected would be that they don't take interior offensive linemen before the 3rd round. And there's a chance this guy might go 2nd round, but if he's there in the 3rd round, someone the Cardinals should consider. And the player is Mason McCormick, guard out of South Dakota State, 23-year-old senior, 6'5", 315, projected to be a day 2 selection. Now, if you follow the Bootleg Football podcast, they had their kind of 10 gems kind of video that came out recently, and they profiled Mason McCormick in there. So if you follow Brett Coleman and EJ Snyder, you're familiar with Mason McCormick. Excuse me. And he's from a small school, South Dakota State's not a major program. But when you look at him, I mean, his PFF grades are really, really good. Now, the level of competition obviously is a question here, but, graded in the 80s, high 80s last year. Across the board, really good. Played exclusively at left guard for the last 3 years. The Cardinals need a left guard. So this is a guy that if you drafted him, might be your starting left guard day 1 potentially. One of the reasons I also highlighted him is a similar reason that I highlighted the person I did last week in terms of athleticism. Now, his RAS score, his athleticism kind of numbers are outstanding. The only reason it's really kind of not perfect green across the board is because his size is maybe a little, off for this position, but his size is fine. But his agility and his all these things, we don't have a bench press, but all these things are really good. Just a really elite athlete. And I talked about last week, there's this tweet Josh Norris put out last year about how The shuttle is this kind of really good predictive metric for interior or for offensive linemen in general. If they have a 4.47 or better in the short shuttle, there's a high rate of success for players, since 2010 that have been drafted with that. And if you look at it, he has a 4.45, so he's below that kind of magic number. So, Mason McCormick is a guy that, I would be a great, I'd love to see him get drafted. They probably have to go third round for him, which is about as early as I think Monty wants to go for interior offensive line. But the athleticism is great. So I think this is a really interesting prospect to consider for the Cardinals. Yeah. So that's the player profile for this week. We got Michael Richard. What is up? Good evening, everyone. Appreciate you being with us.
Good evening. Good evening. Good man. Good evening, sir.
So what we're going to do next is kind of what we do when I have a guest, and that is we do competing mocks, right? And we start out with, now when I have a guest who follows a different team, we do mock drafts for that team as well as Cardinals. So the way I like to do this is have the person who follows the team respond to the mock from the novice. So I am the novice when it comes to the Commanders. So I'll do my mock first, and then you get to respond to it. Tell me where I got it wrong. And then you get to show me how it's done with yours, Tone. And then we'll do that in reverse. So you'll do the Cardinals first, and I'll do that. I'll give a response to that. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and start to go with my mock draft for the Washington Commanders. Now, at pick 2, I went with Drake May. I know there's some question. Obviously, Caleb Williams is likely to be gone unless, surprises everyone. And, Jaden Daniels is certainly a quarterback that a lot of people have mocked here as well. I went with the one who's been ranked higher by PFF and by a lot of people, Drake May, but, it could go either way. So quarterback to a pick 2 seems like the obvious pick for the Commanders. You got a new coach coming in. You've got a chance.
New GM.
Yeah, absolutely. And then when I looked at the Commanders and, I looked at their PFF grades and the players on the roster and tried to kind of figure out what I thought the needs were. And it's a little tricky because you'll have some positions where you have some guys you're trying to develop. Like, for example, cornerback. You got some young cornerbacks there, but no one who's really, I think, solidified themselves as a true number 1. But you got 3 or 4 guys that you want to give a chance and that might become that, right? So it's like, do you draft someone at cornerback or not? So it was a little tricky. There were a number of positions like that, but to me, it looked like edge rusher was an area where like you have some, but it didn't look like you had an alpha edge rusher, who's a true number 1. So I went with the edge in the second round, tried to get, someone who hopefully could be, that top flight young edge rusher for the team. Offensive tackle looked to me to be a big need. And you can tell me if I'm wrong, but
spot on.
So, I went with Kingsley Suamataia. I'm probably butchering that. Great physical traits, a little bit of development he needs, but in the second round, I thought it was got the right athleticism. Now you have a couple nice receivers, but you've got Cliff Kingsbury coming in as your offensive coordinator, and he likes to go 4 wide. He's going to want more receivers, and what I didn't see was a big receiver, right? McLaurin is great. He's fast. He's outstanding receiver. Jahan Dotson is smaller, but has a lot of, potential and upside. But what I really thought you were missing was kind of a big receiver to go on the outside with those guys. So Xavier Legette from South Carolina has a lot of great potential. He's a little bit taller, a little bit bigger. I thought that would be a nice compliment, get you another receiver. You don't need a running back. You guys brought in Austin Eckler, but I thought, you drafted, I think, the guy out of Kentucky, I think it was last year. Yeah. And you've got some running backs, but I thought it didn't hurt to add a younger running back. Eckler's not young. You brought him as a free agent. So Blake Corum out of Michigan. I felt like safety was a need when I looked at your roster.
Spot
so
on.
Adrian Taylor Demerson, I got a safety out of Texas Tech, kind of an athletic safety. The interior defensive line, you've got some solid guys there, right, that you've put good draft capital in, but I thought maybe a little bit of depth, in round 5. So I got you a guy kind of to put into the rotation there. I felt like you needed, and you signed Zach Ertz, but he's older. I felt like you needed maybe a tight end there to develop. So I got an athletic tight end out of Penn State, Theo Johnson. And you've got, a couple good starting interior line or inside linebackers, but I thought maybe just a guy, when you're going to look at the 7th round, depth development, practice or special teams. So I got you a linebacker, maybe a depth guy to develop. So that's kind of what made sense to me. Tone, I'm going to give the floor to you as the Commanders fan who follows this team. Tell me what you think, where I missed, where I got it right, what your thoughts are, and kind of how I assessed your needs.
You did a great job, honestly. I'm not gonna lie. This is pretty solid. I'm also a Penn State diehard, so I love the Theo Johnson pick. I'll start with that. I'm definitely a big Penn State guy. So sometimes you might see a mock draft. I put all Penn State guys because I just love Penn State. But that's completely unrealistic. But get my point here. Yeah, I like this. I like this haul a lot. I love the Demerson pick. We definitely need a true free safety. I was thinking more Tyler Nubin a little earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I like this one though because it's a little later, a little less risk. I don't disagree with that one. Blake Corum is interesting. I think my only critique with that one, I'll be looking for a change of pace back. So someone that's kind of like a little bit more shiftier, a little bit more faster. Blake Corum is very similar to Brian Robinson Jr. in that aspect. So that's my only criticism. I do like Blake Corum, the player, though. So
yeah,
the player's not the problem. It's just the
fit for what you need,
fit for what you want to do. Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless you're telling me that, 2 years Brian Robinson won't be here, then Blake Corum replaces him, and that makes even perfect sense. And that spot on. Yeah. But yeah, I like the Blake Corum pickup overall. I like the player. He's able to get. I completely agree with that as well because you definitely want a bigger receiver, but I don't think he plays taller than his actual size.
I think he's like 6'2", maybe.
He's like 6'1.5", 6'2"-ish.
Yeah,
he played more like he's like 6'4", 6'5". High point.
He's like 220 something though. Like so, he's not like he's a
25 or something.
Yeah.
Huge. I love the BYU tackle. The edge rusher is interesting. We did sign Dorrance Armstrong, who I think should be our number 1 pass rusher going forward. That's a little iffy because he never had a 10-sack season yet. So that's kind of like, you're kind of banking on potential and not actual production. But he also only played 42% of snaps in Dallas too. So it's kind of like, more snaps, more sacks, right?
Right.
But the case, don't know. So I do like that pickup. I think you did a great job. The only thing I would have done, I think when you drafted at 36, was Kamari Lassiter available?
He might have been. For me, when I look at your roster, I think I passed on cornerback because you've got 3 or 4 guys that were drafted in the top 4 rounds the last couple of years. So for me, looking at the roster, I thought you want to give those guys, unless you're, going an elite top guy, and you had other needs that I saw ahead of. But cornerback was a position I considered. But I think he probably was there. There certainly was. I would say there was a cornerback there worth taking.
Yeah. I only say Kamari because I'm just a big fan of this game. Like I watch all 22s. I watched him at Georgia. My boy Rico from Street Scores, another Washington Commander YouTuber. He's a Georgia Bulldogs fan, so he's like, "Hey, watch Kamari Lassiter." I'm like, "Okay, I'll watch him." I'm like, "Dude's physical. He's great at point of attack. He's good ball skills. He screams cornerback one, and we really need one in the room." And that was like kind of like, it's probably the perfect spot to pick one there because I don't think you get another one in the draft after 36. I mean, everyone else is probably quarterback 2s and 3s, but you never know. The draft's a crapshoot. Cameron Crowe's a 7th round pick, and he was a top 12-ish safety in the league. So you never know. You never know. Tom Brady 6th round pick to go. Like you never know. So.
Yeah.
Marcus Colston, Super Bowl champion and 7th round pick, and had like 5 or 6 1,000-yard seasons. You never know. So.
Right. Well, before we get to your mock draft, I'm going to say some of the folks that dropped in, and then we'll get to yours, and you can show us how it's done. We got Mono. Happy Mock Draft Monday. What's up? We got
No.
Jova Liggins, thanks for being here. Can't wait to see what this team can do. Fire. Michael Richards saying, I have been drafting McCormick and Greenfield a lot in my mocks. They have been playing together for 5 years. I think they'd be swanky good tandem. I like it. AVB, my good friend Aaron Van Buren. My dreams come true. Hollywood, Ron Hill Moore are gone. Yeah. Merry Christmas, Aaron. They're gone. We got CarCast 49ers Talk podcast. Check him out. He's a 49ers content creator who I've messaged with a few times. Thanks for being here with AVB. Yes, please hit the like button. Thank you. We got the Hawk TV. Thanks for hanging out with us. It's one of your boys, right?
Yes, thanks for jumping in. What it do, big dog?
And we got Saltiest Gaming, Arizona sports fan in general, and also he does gaming YouTube content. Check out his Saltiest Gaming. Appreciate you hanging out with us as always, my friend. And we got Russ Carver, Truth Jedi. Hey, you showed up on my feed. Finally, guys, working again, my friend. Yeah, Russ had mentioned in my comments and videos that, like, for whatever reason, he's subscribed, hit the bell, but it wasn't showing up in his feed. So I'm glad it did. So good to have you with us live. And then we've got Dana Robson lurking here. Didn't get a mock draft from you this week, Dana, but I appreciate Dana. Oh, Dana is a very active part of the Discord. Always has some really great insights. So appreciate you hanging out with us as well. So let's get to Tony's mock draft. Tony's going to show us how it's done for the Commanders. I looked at it. I had the opportunity to look at it. Right. So, we've got, I know there's at least a little bit of similarity at the top. So we'll let you talk about your mock draft. Tell us what you're thinking as we go through this, Tone.
All right, cool. So, of course, number 2 overall, Drake May. I know a lot of Commanders fans want Jaden Daniels. I get it. The kid can run, he can throw, da-da-da. Sometimes you have to pick the higher ceiling player and take the risk on a lower floor. And that just comes with it. The Bills did with Josh Allen. Guess what? It paid off. No offense to the Cardinals. Back then, you took Josh Rosen with the higher floor, lower ceiling, and that didn't go so well.
No.
Like another example. You guys said next year went Kyler Murray. Higher ceiling, maybe a slightly lower floor, right? The Giants went Daniel Jones. Much higher floor, much lower ceiling. And who's keep their quarterback and who's to get rid of the other one? That. So sometimes you have to go with the higher ceiling and lower floor. And Drake May, so I'm ready to take a gamble on. I think the kid can play. And one more thing about the Commanders fans: stop putting Drake May and Sam Howell in the same sentence. It gets on my daggone nerves. Stop it. They're 2 different guys. One guy's 5'10" and a half and runs like a daggone hamster, and the other one's 6'4" and runs like a daggone gazelle. It's different. Okay? It's different. I love Sam. And I wish Sam was the best. He's in your division now. I hope y'all don't sack him and kill him.
Right.
Nonetheless, back to the point I had. So, it's like, you gotta stop comparing these apples to oranges, man. Like, they're 2 different players. But they're best friends too. So it's kind of be like, he's Sam Howell 2.0. Like, how? They wore the same helmet. Whoop-de-doo, bro. They're not the same guy. So stop that too. So that was my number 2 pick overall, and why. But I do like Jaden Daniels a lot. They went Jaden Daniels, I would not be angry at all.
Mm-hmm.
At number 36, I went Tyler Nubin, safety out of Minnesota. I like Chatavius Quan Martin. I like him a lot, but I think he's more of a hybrid. So he's like kind of guy who can move around. That's why I think they made Cameron Crowe expendable, because they had a guy that can do the same thing and also have ball production, something that Cam does not have, unfortunately. I'm gonna miss Cam. His IQ was not off the charts. Now I'm definitely gonna miss him being in our safety room, but another topic for another day. But so with that being said, we need a tag team partner to one Quan Martin, and we need a true free safety that has good ball skills, who can pick off passes, who's the true last line defense. Y'all seen, if y'all watch the Commanders games, y'all seen Tyreek Hill do this. We've seen a guy like Michael Wilson week 1 catch a bomb like, What is this? Week 2, Marvin Mims, 68 yards the other way. Bye-bye.
Right.
What is this? Like, bro. Game day is week 3. Ha! Gotcha. Like, oh
Right.
my gosh. It's like a weekly thing. AJ Brown just oh my gosh, oh my gosh, he used and abused everybody. Emmanuel Forbes, get off, stop it. Small, little boy, get off. Like we need a safety to stop this foolishness. Like basically my point.
Mm-hmm.
So Tyler Newman's perfect for this situation, and I really believe that he'll be a nice fit. I saw Amano 187's comment. Yeah, he doesn't run the fastest 40. Kamari Lassiter doesn't, but he's physical at the point of attack. He has good ball skills, and he can cover well. Sometimes speed is the most important thing. It is important. I'm not saying it's not, but if you could play the position, you can play the position, and that's what Kamari Lassiter can do. Kamari Lassiter to me is a cornerback 1 day 1, and he can take advantage of a dog. He's a dog. He come out there and play like a dog. He out here getting physical with people and smacking, getting physical, as Louis T would say. Shout out to Louis T from Louis T Network. Go subscribe to the channel as well if you're a Commanders fan. But yeah, he's a dog. Like, what we talking about here? Dog. Now, this one I got a little controversial. Some of my friends probably cursed me out for this one. Not gonna lie. But I traded down with the Jets and got some extra draft picks. I think I'm going to do a trade down sometime in the draft to get extra draft picks. Adam Pearce is kind of that kind of guy that just loves draft picks and loves rookie contracts and loves rookie labor. So I think he's a guy that would kind of, you know what I'm saying? A couple extra picks ain't gonna hurt.
Yeah.
Some of these former Ron Rivera picks will be on the roster anyway. So let's go get more of our guys that we want. So in the 72nd pick, I chose to pick Jonathan Brooks.
A little bit faster back, or a little bit more of the kind of back you were looking for, right?
Yeah, a little faster back, but I think he actually could be a guy that can replace Brian Robinson in a couple of years if you choose not to pay him. Because he's I think Jonathan Brooks is a 3-down back in this league, but I do think right now he'll be that change of pace, big play, catch a screen 50 yards every way. Some of that Austin Eckler probably can't do consistently at this time of his career, but I think he'll learn the nuance of the running back from Austin Eckler while being a complement to Brian Robinson and kind of like a redshirt year for him because he's come off an ACL tear. So I would have took him even earlier than this if he wasn't caught the ACL tear, but since he is, I would just go ahead and stash him. Maybe see how he looks in camp and look how he looks in the preseason. If he ain't 100% fully redshirt him, see what he looks like in 2025, and then roll with those three for 1 year, and Austin Eckler can leave, whatever, figure it out, and you figure out the running back room there. Figure out. Javon Baker out of UCF. I like him. I don't like him as much. I like Xavier Legette. I would have preferred him over Javon Baker, but he was already gone, long gone by then. So I was like, it is what it is. But Javon Baker is a pretty fast guy. He can high point the football. He's not Xavier Legette when it comes to size, but he is when it comes to high point the football. And also I like about Javon Baker, he's a little bit better of a route runner right now than Xavier Legette is at the time of his career. You say he runs a little bit more crisp, more technical routes. I love a route runner. I'm a route runner fiend. I love it. I just can't have enough of it. So I love Terry McLaurin so much. He's just beautiful routes. It's just I'm open. Gotcha.
Right.
I love that. So Javon Baker's a good fit, I think, there. Matt Goncalves, we need a tackle in the worst way. Like just like Bro said earlier, it's like Joseph said earlier, we need a tackle. We still don't have none on the roster that's worth a darn. We cut Charles Leno. We don't have anything. Andrew Waddy stinks. We need a tackle. So this is the best tackle available at said pick. I had no explanation for that other than that.
Yeah,
I want to be honest. Josh Newton, another corner. I know y'all about to say, why another corner? Our cornerback room is full of Ron Rivera picks that might not be on his daggone roster. That's why. So I went with the best player on the board at the time, and Josh Newton was the best player on the big board at the time, honestly speaking. Donald Hockler out of Colorado State. We need a compliment to Zach Ertz. I think Zach Ertz will be our tight end one for the whole season. Knock on wood.
Right, if he's healthy.
Knock on wood, please, because Zach Ertz loves to get injured. So knock on wood. But I just don't see how Cole Turner or Amari Rodgers really makes this roster. So it's kind of like they're going to be gone probably, or at least one of them. And I think that'll probably be Amari Rodgers because of the Achilles. I don't know how you're going to look up that Achilles tear. He's super athletic and things like that nature, but that Achilles really worries me. But I think one of those guys will be gone. So you want a guy at least that can come in here and at least replace what John Bates was given to in the receiving game. And I think Hawkler can do that immediately. I think he can do more than that. And I think he's a better blocker than given credit for. So I think he can even replace a John Bates. And you can roll with him, Cole Turner, and Zach Ertz until John Bates to get it packing because he's only good at blocking. And I'm tired of these one-way tight ends. I need a two-way tight end. And there's the best two-way tight end that was available at the time. Then Eric All, he's just the best player on the board. I have no explanation for that. He's just the best player on the board. Jalen Green, edge rusher out of James Madison. He's explosive. Like I watched the tape. I'm like, yo, this first step is disgusting. This dude is going to have a nasty first step in the league. Like his first step isn't Khalil Mack-esque come out of Buffalo, but it's a little tad bit lower than it. And I'm like, ooh. But he doesn't have moves. That's the thing. Like it's all just speed, and that's it. But the speed is crazy. So it's like that's a nice mold of clay you can mold into something, you know? That's what you're looking for in the 7th round, 6th, 7th round of draft. And say we're Andrew Random out of Oklahoma, very quick first step and anchoring against defensive tackles, things of that nature. But what he struggles with is run blocking, I noticed. He gets blown up in the run game. It's terrible. Oh, my God. I seen a dude throw him like a rag doll. I'm like, oh, my gosh. Why did I draft this guy? Right. But also, I see him anchor the passing game, and you can't – he's like in a movable object. Like, you can't move this dude. So, it's a little hit or miss with him. But he's also another mold of clay you can mold into something. So, that's what that was my –
Nice. So that is how it's done by Commander's content creator. Okay, I like it. Well, it looks like you and I had some of the same, a lot of the same positions that we identified as needs. So that tells me that I'm on the right track then, because obviously you
was almost spot on. The only difference was I out of the corner at 36, but everything else is perfect.
Awesome. Well, let me say some of the folks that have jumped in. We got Red Sea hanging out with us. We got Daniel Coryard. Thanks for being here. We got Alona. Thanks for jumping in. Hello, how are you? It's been forever. Good to see you. She's a really kind person, a Seattle Seahawks fan who drops in here every once in a while. Appreciate you hanging out with us. There's a rigorous discussion about about Drake May. Dana's talking about and with Red Sea, and basically what she's talking about is that his tape isn't great in terms of ball placement and stuff. And Red Sea commenting about how kind of the situation he's in was tough, and that's kind of the thing it is with quarterbacks these days. Like you mentioned Josh Allen, who's a guy whose accuracy wasn't great in college, and he came out and he ended up getting better in the pros, which, historically they say quarterbacks don't get more accurate when they come to the pros, but with good coaching, if they have the talent, but maybe the footwork or the situation wasn't great and you get them in a better situation, if the tools are there, sometimes you can make it work. So, I think I think the deal with Drake May is people are looking at the raw tools and coaches feeling like they can work with that. We'll see, right? It's interesting because like when Josh Allen came out in that draft class, I was in the old way of thinking back then. I thought he wasn't going to be good because the whole old adage, if you don't get more accurate when you go to the pros, but what you've seen is a shift where the idea of a pro ready quarterback is kind of a misnomer, because Josh Rosen, who you mentioned, was supposed to be the pro-ready quarterback, and he faltered. And and really what you look at now is you look for the quarterback that has the tools and that is coachable, and you hope they get into a good situation, right? So that's, I think, what they're banking on here. We'll see, right? But is Jaden Daniels also that, but better? So that's also an argument to be made. Yeah. So Mono's got a question for you. Do the Commanders have any of these guys in their top 30 visits? Do you know if they've any of the guys?
Only one of these guys in the top of the draft. Well, two if you count Drake May, but Kamari Lasser is going to have a top 30 visit, so that's
Okay.
I didn't even know that when I did the mock. I saw it afterwards, so I was like, okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the May and Lasser. Okay, good to know. Okay, awesome. All right, Tony, you're up again. We're going to have you do your Cardinals mock draft, and then I'm going to tell you what I think of it.
All right, so for y'all say what happened here? What trade alert. All right, so I thought this. Okay, you have a decent roster, but what's a couple more picks though?
You're being generous about us having a decent roster. We need some work,
but it needs some work.
Yeah.
So more draft picks means more work.
Okay.
So why not get more draft picks, right? I could have got more out of this than this, but you know the drafts were being very annoying. It probably since I was a Commanders fan want to throw hands, so they didn't want to do business with me for real. So I got what I got out of it, and this is a hot take. I know it's a hot take.
Okay.
A hot take. I think Malik Neighbors will be the best receiver come out this draft when all is said and done. I said it emphatically.
Right.
I stand on it. Okay, I stand on it. I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is great. I know. He has the namesake of a freaking Hall of Famer for crying out loud. I get it. But I always say hard work can overcome the discrepancy of talent. I don't think the discrepancy of talent between Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. is that big to where he can't usurp him. So why not get a couple extra draft picks and get the guy that I think will be the best guy in the entire draft when it comes to the wide receiver position? Malik Neighbors is a effing dog. Malik Neighbors is the reason why this man Jaden Daniels might be a top 5 pick in the draft. Okay, he's the reason why. God darn it. So yes, I'm going Malik Neighbors. Next, that interior defensive line unit, boy, that thing look terrible. Oh my gosh, we need to infuse some talent in that thing. We got to put some talent in that interior defensive line room. I don't think you guys want to trade draft picks for players. So the next best thing is to take that second first round pick and put some interior defensive disruption in it. And Jerron Newton is the definition of disruptive. This man is a disruptor to the umpteenth power. This man takes on double teams. He drags people in the mud. He's extra disrespectful when he does it. He gets to the quarterback. He's great in the run game. He's fun to watch. Watch some all 22s of Mr. Newton. He's a one nasty disposition football player. I love it. Want more of it. So, next, I saw that center position. Don't look too hot. It don't look too hot. Look a little shaky. So, let's infuse that into the offensive line with arguably the second best center in the class. I think Jordan Powers Jackson will be a little better than Zach Frazier right now, but it's a close second, and I think you can't go wrong with either one. So that's what I was going with here at pick 35, pick 47. That quarterback room, boy. I don't like it. I don't like it. I need a number one corner. I don't like it. So TJ Tampa, come on down. Fast, physical corner. Don't have the best ball skills in the world, but can force turnovers. He does have a nose for the football, and I like players like that. Players like that cause turnovers and give you extra possessions. And we know when Kyler Murray gets extra possessions, we're going to get some points on the board, especially a guy like Malik Neighbors. So why not, right? Christian Haynes, I said, once again, now tear that offensive line. Don't look so hot. Let's go ahead and try to fix that with a guy who is very, very good in the run game and very solid at anchoring. I think he could be better pass blocker. But day one, he's going to be a mauler in the run game. Like, he's going to help you have balance offensively running the football and keep Kyler clean because you're running the ball and get success off it and go play action off of that. Running back room, more to be desired. Not terrible, but more to be desired. Like James Conner. We need some speed in that thing, boy. Give me some speed. Speed racer. Need some road running in that thing. So Jalen Wright is probably the fastest running back other than Isaac Guerrero off the 40s. So I'm like, yeah, let's put some speed in here, man. He's not the most physical runner, but super fast. He's physical enough. Get it done. And I think he could be a 3-down back going forward for you. Can maybe make a guy like James Conner expendable. Maybe. We'll see. But yeah, I think he's definitely a complimentary back at bare minimum. Probably a 3-down back. Next, Max Milton out of Rutgers. Another guy who can force turnovers. I like guys who can force turnovers. Max Milton does that. He also brings special teams value as well as a gunner and also as a returner. I believe he returned a couple punts before from when I saw. So he can really do some things for you in multiple ways. I like guys who can do multiple things on one roster. He does that. All right, but I talked about Javon Baker earlier. I don't want to talk about that. Isaac Guerrero. See, I doubled down the running back position. I just don't like the running back room. I'm sorry. I want more. I want more in the running. I want more speed in the running back room. Little controversial here. Jordan Travis out of Florida State. I don't know. Who was your backup quarterback?
Well, actually, we traded for Desmond Ridder.
Oh yeah, I did trade for.
So I was gonna ding you on that one. So yeah, so this pick probably not so much. But he's a backup with starting experience, right?
That's true. That's true.
I mean, he's terrible if he's your starting quarterback, but I don't mind him as a backup.
I prefer the ceiling of Jordan Travis rather than the floor of Desmond Ridder. That's just me.
Yeah.
So I think you can get a guy like this to develop. Knock on wood for Kyler. Oh, knock on wood for Kyler, and just get Desmond out of my face. I'm good on that. just get him out of here. Next, Eric All. Just like Dana said, he has heck of potential here, and I think he's a guy that can really complement Trey McBride. So I like that a lot. Ryan Watts, I said, I love getting good special teamers late in the draft because special teams are so important. I know people are open on offense and defense and nothing about specials. You need guys on specials, man. And Ryan Watts is a gunner. He also could be nice cornerback depth if need be. And then finally, Jalen Grant said, quick first step. That first step is just disgusting, and you can't go wrong with a quick first step.
Nice. So,
here we go. Let's do it.
Yeah. Okay. So Malik Neighbors might be that guy. I mean, he's in terms of being I know like everyone's talking about Marvin Harrison Jr. as the consensus number one, but it's in league circles. I don't think it's as much of a consensus as what we're hearing is that some people like Neighbors a little better and it's closer than fans think. So I get that. Right. For the Cardinals, I think they want bigger targets for Kyler. And while Neighbors may end up being just that stud player, Marvin Harrison Jr. and Rome Odunze both are also likely to be very, stud receivers. And they are bigger targets. And I think for me, that's the tiebreaker from between Malik Neighbors, right? That I want a bigger outside receiver for Kyler. So for me, it's Marvin Harrison Jr. or if you trade back, it's Rome Odunze, right? Is who I'm going for. But you're right on that they need an elite receiver, right? So it's, and it's not out of the realm of possibility they decide they want Malik Neighbors, but I think they're more likely to go one of the other two guys. So the position's not wrong, and the player's great. It's just for me, I'm going a different direction, but that's splitting hairs. I respect that. Defensive interior line, definitely, that's a position you need now. They have addressed that pretty heavily in free agency. They've signed like 3 guys. None of them are elite defensive interior linemen. They could certainly use an alpha game wrecker in the middle there, like, Jerzon Newton. As much as I'd love to get Jerzon Newton, and I've mocked him there before, and I would love to get him there. I suspect the Cardinals are not going to address defensive interior that early. I think they're planning to try to kind of go more like last year. They got a guy in the 6th round, I think, and who played nice for us. I think they're going to go with the free agents and maybe draft someone later. We'll see. It's only a hunch, right? But but I do love the idea of getting an alpha dog like him in the middle there, right, to wreck it. Now, the Zach Frazier in the second round. There's this chart that I put together that is kind of the Monty draft strategy. And whenever anyone goes against it, we have to put this up. Or at least, all right. Now, here's the deal with this draft chart, okay? Is one of the things in this chart, and let me go, let me go up to it real quick, is that interior offensive line, the time that he was the Patriots, Titans, and then now with the Cardinals, they did not take them before the third round, right? So does that mean he can't? Of course not. I mean, it's possible they go against that. But I suspect that that's a philosophy that he's going to stick with. So I just don't think you're going to see interior offensive line in the second round for that reason. That's just my kind of, my projection or prediction. So let's get back to yours. Okay. Yeah. So I don't think they're going to go center there. Now, in terms of the need at the position, I mean, they have Yelta Frodeholt, who they got from Cleveland, and he actually came on much better towards the end of the season. And I think they like him. He knows the system. So I think that the center position isn't as bad as you might think. It's just his grade is okay, but he played better as the season went on. I do think they're going to try to develop someone for that position, but I think they're going to go later is my thought. Love the tight end or the cornerback, TJ Tampa. I love the cornerback position in the second round. That's a space. That's actually a spot they really like to take, that Monty's like from the Patriots. So love the TJ Tampa pick. Christian Haynes getting a guard that we need a left guard, right? So love that. In the third round. Love getting a halfback. I like we have James Conner's a stud, but you worry about health with him. They do have Michael Carter, who they got off waivers from the Jets, who's a speed back.
I forgot about that.
Right.
Carter.
And then they signed DJ Dallas from Seattle. He's more of a special teams kind of got depth guy, right? And then Amari Mercado, he was a undrafted free agent out of TCU they like. So they've got guys they like, but I often have them taking a running back. So I like that, getting a guy there. Max Melton going with another cornerback. Again, need cornerback, though. They have some young guys they're trying to develop. So I don't know if they'll go two of them or not. They might. Well, you've got three. So,
yeah. The guy, more special teams guy. I don't think he's going to even make the roster, but
yeah. I love doubling on the receiver, getting Javon Bakers. That's a great pick. That's another guy that I know that Brett Coleman and company like. With our receiver room, I especially now that they traded Rondale Moore, I think there's a good chance they draft two receivers. So I love that. That with neighbors. Guerendo, he's a great fit for the wide zone, so I love it. Right. Again, I wouldn't go two running backs, but I do like the pick. We talked about the quarterbacks. I don't think they're doing that, but I get that. A second tight end, love it. Like, Trey McBride's a stud. He's blossoming into a stud, but they need a guy. They need some depth there. Again, another cornerback. They do like taking cornerbacks late, but I don't know that I don't think they're going with three, but still. On edge rusher, they need an edge, but they need a stud edge. So I usually go earlier, but I like getting an edge in there. So let me get some of the comments, and we'll get mine here. And we got some folks that have dropped in as well. We got I know I'm gonna apologize ahead of time because I know I'm gonna butcher your name. Sake Craviero, and I know I destroyed it. I'm so sorry, but thank you for being here. Waiting on one Cardinals game in Brazil. Go Red Sea. Awesome. Appreciate you being here. We got Rafael Castillo. He's not lying. I think he was talking about when you were talking about the receiver thing, right? Thank you for being here, Rafael. We've got Jay Green. I like the Guerendo pick. He's my choice running back and draft pick. Yeah, he's kind of a guy a lot of people are talking about. Let's see. We got Mizaki Felix. Oh, please no. I'm not sure what pick you're talking about that got that response, but thanks for being here. We've got Grandizer, the man, the legend Grandizer, who does a great job.
What up, bro?
Yeah, supporting content creators. We appreciate you, Grandizer, and all that you do. Robert Moore, let's see, this is his feedback. Too many quarterbacks. I kind of felt that way too, right? No need for a quarterback. We talked about that. One too many running backs. Baker's hands are not the greatest. Okay. So he gave you a harsh grade there. All right.
You respect it. I'm not a Cardinals fan, so
hey, right.
I'm not mad.
And then Red Sea saying the almighty chart.
The almighty chart.
You may not stray from the chart, or you will be branded a heretic. So appreciate you being here, Raphael. Appreciate everyone. All right, so
Kragen.
So listen, I think you're right on the need receiver and a couple of them, right? So love that. Defensive interior, I think getting one good defensive interior lineman, I like that. A developmental center, cornerback, I think too many of them, but they definitely need it. I mean, positions wise, I think the only position on here I think you took that they really isn't one I would take is the quarterback. But you hadn't, I think you'd forgot that Ritter was traded for, right?
Yeah, I forgot that bum was my fault.
Right. Chris Smith, thanks for being here. Finally made it. Appreciate you.
What's up, bro?
Welcome back from Mock Draft Monday. But listen, Robert says A for effort, Tone. So
appreciate that, bro.
And then Grand Knight, I haven't seen Protech live for a long time. Good to see you. That he's still active. So awesome. All right.
Appreciate you, bro.
Now it's time for mine. Okay, here we go. Ready? All right.
Woo! I like this one, though.
Here's what I got this time around. Okay. Marvin Harrison Jr. at the top. I didn't trade back. He was there. Went with him. All right. So went with the receiver there. Kool-Aid McKinstry, cornerback. I know he's often going in the second round. There's other cornerbacks that some people like their upside. I like, guys that come out of Bama that play and they're generally good players, and he's really smart. So I went with him there. Then we went with edge at pick 35, Darius Robinson, trying to get a guy that they hope can be a really good edge rusher for them. They definitely need an edge rusher in the worst way. Then I went Junior Colson, linebacker. They signed a free agent linebacker. They've got, because they're white, but I think they could use to draft and develop a guy to be their true number one running back. I'm sorry, linebacker. So getting that guy in the linebackers in the second and third round, I think is a good place to get him. You can get really good linebackers there. I don't like going first round, but I do like getting like a guy like Junior Colson in the third round. Then I also Jalen Wright, halfback. Add a running back to that room. They definitely I would like to do that, right? Then I try to, if I profile a player, get them in my mock draft. So I've got Mason McCormick in the third round, right? I have a feeling he won't be there at pick 90 where I got him in real life, but love him as that left guard potentially, right? Mono saying he's an RAS warrior, right? And then I went with another receiver, Malik Washington. So doubling up on receiver again. I think they're gonna. I would not be shocked if they do that. Then I went with a tight end, Ben Snott, in the fifth round, getting a backup tight end there.
I love that guy.
Then, Then tackle Javon Foster out of Missouri in the fifth round. So, a lot of people had the Cardinals going tackle early, like, with pick 27 or in the second round until they signed Jonah Williams, who now looks like he and, Paris Johnson Jr. are going to be the bookends. Yeah. But I do think that drafting a tackle on day 3 is something they might do to try to develop that guy to either be the backup swing tackle or eventually potentially be a starting right tackle when Jonah Williams' contract is up. So I went with the guy, and he's got the long arms that you look for, and decent athleticism. So I went with Javon Foster there, a developmental tackle in the fifth round. Then, talked about interior defensive line. They've signed a lot of guys, like I mentioned, but I had him get a guy to add to the mix to develop in Marcus Harris out of Auburn. And then got that Dylan McMahon, who I had highlighted last week, a guy, he also has that short shuttle under the 4.47. I talked about that last week. He's a 4.45 short shuttle. He needs to get stronger. He's a developmental guy, but in the 7th round, to get a guy who's maybe a backup you develop to eventually be a starter who has that athleticism is kind of what I went with. So this is what I went with. Actually, I do a lot of mock drafts, as I'm sure you do for your team, and I actually really liked this one, how it came out. in terms of the positions and where they fell. Real quick, want to say, hey, we've got ALOT a lot. Yo, one I think come in from your stream. So appreciate you hanging out with us. All right. Any thoughts on that?
I like it. This is I like it. I like it. I would say Darius. I don't know why they can keep putting Darius Flowers as an edge rusher. He's a freaking defensive tackle. Like we're like 290. Like
tall. Yeah, he's
tall,
kind of
like a tweener, but he's definitely more of like a defensive tackle to me. But I don't know. It's interesting. I don't know why they keep them as an edge rusher when most of the highlights are from the interior. But none of my business.
Yeah.
Either way, he's gonna be a dog. Like it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
I love that Malik Washington pick. I don't know why they graded this. He is so disrespectful. Coming from up here and watching him at Virginia, he is like he's what Rondale Moore is supposed to be. He's like kind of that Rondale Moore type of frame, but he does more. He high points the football. Like I forgot what corner he mauls for the ball, bro. But you know, Malik Washington number 5'9". And that corner had to be like 6'1", bro. Quarterback just throws up to him. Just throws it up. I'm like, he ain't catching this. Bro said, I said, first of all, he gave him a little nudge without offensive pass interference. He did like these. Give me it. You 5'9", bro. I said, this boy's ridiculous, bro.
Well, and having traded away Rondale Moore, we traded away Rondale Moore. We've got Greg Dortch as our slot receiver, but I think there's room for another guy in there to, you know, kind of some depth there, right? With Greg Dortch. So that's kind of my thought process there. You know, we got a big receiver and a small one, right?
Yeah. Agreed. I love that mixer with the bigger and smaller guy too. I think Malik Washington is going to be a problem. Might not be a 1,000-yard receiver, 80 catch guy, but in space and in situational football, he's going to be a problem. Like throw him a screen on third and 15, he'll pick up 25. Give him a jet sweep on 1st and 10 from the 20 from the 40, and you're looking for a big play to get you in field goal range, something like that. He'll get you a 25, 30-yard reverse or a slant for 60 yards the other way. He might not be a home run hitter, but he'll be a double, triple. Like he'll hit those big plays for you, and I think he's gonna be a big chain mover for you. On the roster, that's probably my favorite pick of all. I love Malik Washington. I'm a big fan of this game.
Yeah.
And Kool-Aid, man, can't go wrong with a dude named Kool-Aid, bro. So,
right.
Man, I think that's pretty dope. Ben Sinnott, I love that pickup as well. Dylan McMahon is someone I did watch a little bit. He's interesting. Julian Colson's a great pickup. I like that one. Jalen Wright, perfect compliment to James Conner with his speed. I think that's a nice thunder and lightning combo. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So let me get some of the comments. Some of the folks in the chat giving some thoughts here. Let's see. Robert saying he'd be very hesitant to take a cornerback before defensive line. I think edge they might go. I just, like I said, I think interior defensive line. I just have this feeling they're not going early on that. Watch them prove me wrong, but I hear like edge is maybe a bigger need, you could argue, than cornerback. So I feel that. I think I didn't like any of the edges there at pick 27. But I think, maybe they do. And there's some people have commented about, Chris saying, I think you should have traded up trade some of the picks to move up. Right. And then Mono saying he likes moving up, and that's absolutely a good possibility. In terms of, I think that they have all this draft capital, and they like moving down and up. They like moving around. So they might do that, right? So maybe you move up to get a better edge rusher. So I feel that. I liked getting McKinstry there and then getting Darius Robinson, but he's Dana's saying he's going to be more of a 3 technique. He doesn't have the speed for 5 technique, and I think and that's fair. I think they'll kind of move him around a little bit if they were to draft him. Yeah. They have needs kind of across the board there, so I think you can still make it work. Robert Moore thought we were done with short receivers. Washington picked thumbs down. See, my problem is if we go short receivers in the first 2 rounds, right? Second round in particular, we've done a lot. I think Malik Washington in the 4th round, I like that. I'm not, but he's what you're doing with that is you're putting him in there as a slot receiver. But on the outside, I'm going Marvin Harrison. I'm going big receivers on the outside, but we got rid of a lot of our small receivers. Now we only got 1, right? So I don't mind a second one, but anyway, so that's kind of what we got there. Now we're going to do what all the folks are here for. And that is we're going to start looking at the mock drafts that were submitted by the viewers. So it is time for their mock drafts. And I think what we'll do for time wise, just to kind of make sure we don't spend too much time on, Tone, just tell me your favorite. When we go to each of these mocks, tell me which pick is your favorite one of the one they do. Okay. And I'll just go to a quick summary. So first up, we have Greedy Green. He starts out with a little bit of a trade back, then gets Dallas Turner, edge rusher out of Alabama. Then he goes wide receiver 27 with Brian Thomas Jr., then Kamari Lassiter, guy that you liked, then defensive tackle 47 Leonard Taylor, then another defensive tackle Tavondre Sweat, linebacker Junior Colson, who I also took, then got offensive tackle Roger Rosengarten, then we got edge Cedric Johnson, tight end Brevin Spanford, linebacker Tommy Eichenberg, and then running back Tyrone Tracy Jr. So what's your favorite pick on this one?
It's tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough one. That Dallas Turner pick sounds absolutely beautiful. I can't lie. I would say my favorite is Brian Thomas Jr. because I think he's so slept on because he wasn't the one receiver at his school. He was Malik Neighbors' tag team partner. And I think he can be a wide receiver 1 in this league. And you get him that late in the first round, I think is a steal. He should have been gone by then. I don't know what the heck they did in that simulator, but he should have been long gone. So I love the fact you still got the receiver that you're looking for, along with getting the best edge rusher in the class. So I like that combination of both of those picks in the first round.
Yeah, and they need an elite edge rusher. So if they trade back and they get the best edge rusher in the class, arguably, and then it's a good receiver class, so, and, there's part of me that wonders, are they going to do an offense instead of going receiver early? Are they going to build an offense where they're going to have a good running game, a good tight end, and deep receiver core, not necessarily an elite guy at the top, but do they do something like this? Take a receiver, Brian Thomas Jr., and maybe I would take another one, but are they going to build around Trey McBride and Michael Wilson, Greg Dortch, and a couple other guys and a running game rather than go the elite receiver? I've wondered that, right? So I could see that being the direction here. I'm still going receiver early, but the edge class is kind of weird. There's not a lot of top end edges. There's a couple guys kind of there. Then there's some interesting guys. So I don't hate it, right? Mono saying Dallas Turner, Monty liked what he saw at the combine. Robert Moore, his feedback is too many linebackers, trading linebacker for an interior offensive line. Overall, not bad, B-. I think going maybe a little too much on the defensive tackle. And I don't know if this was done before some of the signings, but with all the free agents they signed in the defensive line, I don't know that they'll go 2 defensive tackles.
It might have been done before all the signings happened.
Yeah, it might have been. So all right. But overall, I like what you did. You zigged when we zagged with the Dallas Turner pick there, Greedy. So like it. Next up, Dakota Bedard, who I know was in the chat earlier. So he went Marvin Harrison Jr., then he went with offensive tackle Tyler Guyton. This might have been before they signed Jonah Williams. I'm not sure, though. Byron Murphy, defensive tackle at 35. He'll probably be gone by then, but, still. Christian Mahogany, guard at 66. Then we got an edge, Zion Tupola, Fatui, I know I butchered that. Then we've got linebacker Jeremiah Trotter Jr., then safety Kenny Logan Jr., center Kingsley Agukin, and then tight end Brevin Spanford, running back Carson Steele, and then quarterback Jake Plummer. I didn't know there's another Jake Plummer playing. Oh wow, okay. Real quick, Jay saying trying to build the trench. Yeah. From the last mock draft. All right, what's your favorite pick here, Tom?
This is interesting. I would say Jeremiah Trotter Jr. He's I love dogs, and he's just a dog. He's just eats, sleep, breathes football. That's all I see on that man's social media is football, more football, more football. I love guys like that because they dedicate themselves to the game, and I think that's so important when you're a profession that you have to dedicate yourself to it. And I love guys who do that. And he's so explosive and things of that nature as an athlete. I think he could be a really good linebacker for you. So I love that pickup in the third round. Like, bro, you can't go wrong with that.
I like that pick too a lot. That's probably my favorite here as well. Getting that, I could talk about getting a linebacker in the second or third round. I would really like to see them do that. So I also like that. I wouldn't go tackle at pick 27 now that they've got Jonah Williams there, but I'd get one later, right? But like getting a guard like Christian Mahogany right in there, Byron Murphy Jr. or second. I mean, Byron Jr. That's different. Byron Murphy the second. If he's still there at 35, that's to me. I love that pick. He probably won't be. So, yeah, right.
I ain't counting that one because I think he'll be there either. I'm like, he's not gonna be there. Probably.
Yeah. But yeah, Dakota, you're welcome. Thanks for submitting your mock. Dana thinks that it's too early for Zion, ZTF, right? And Gukin. Both, maybe a little early for them. Jay really thinks Carson Steele's interesting, good size. Robert Moore, this draft hits pretty good spread. Arizona, I don't think Murphy falls far, but good draft, A-. Okay, there we go. Yeah, if he's at 35, then he probably murdered someone. Right? Yeah. So hope not.
Why gotta be that though? Like, why gotta be that? Like,
right.
Why could you say he robbed somebody or something?
Right.
It's like, why gotta be killing somebody, bro? Like,
all right. Next up, we have got Brian Sinister. I don't know if he's still here with us, hanging out in the draft, but he's got Marvin at 4. Then Damian Robinson, edge at Penn State at 27. That's Chop Robinson.
I'm about to say it gotta be Chop.
Yeah. Byron Murphy also.
Byron
Murphy also falling to 35 in this mock. Wow. Then we got the linebacker Peyton Wilson out of NC State at 66. Then Christian Mahogany, cornerback Cam Hart out of Notre Dame, running back Braylon Adam, who is really popular in the a lot of folks here like him in our chat. Zach Zinter, interior offensive line of Michigan. Jaheim, I'm probably butchering that too. Bell, tight end of Florida State. Safety Evan Williams, and then offensive tackle Garrett Greenfield. Oh, right. What's your favorite pick here?
Y'all know I'm a Penn State fan, right? This is the most obvious one.
Yeah.
Chop! He's from the DMV, so he's from Gaithersburg, Maryland. It's about 30 minutes outside of DC. Watched Chop a little bit in high school, and of course, I watched him at Penn State. So, if y'all get Chop, I will be heartbroken because he's not going to be a commander. So, sad face.
Yeah,
I would love it for you guys because Chop, he's energetic. He has a motor. He has pass rushing moves. He has a rip. He don't have a spin quite yet. Not consistent spin anyway, but he goes speed to power. He actually has a rip move. It's another move he does have as well. He kind of had like a power, like a bull rush when he just discard you, like throw you away, like disrespectfully throw you like a rag doll. So he has a couple moves in his repertoire already, which I think is huge, especially for a guy that's coming to a league and probably be their number one pass rusher. So I think that'll be huge. I love Chop, man. I love Chop. I love Chop.
Yeah, and Dana's talking about how the physicals are there, but another guy who's a projection. That the sack production wasn't there, but the PFF grades were high, so he was doing something right, and the physical tools are there. So, but it is a little bit of projection, right?
Yeah.
And then she's Peyton Wilson. She says bad against run, good in pass rush and coverage. Huge drop off from Edger and Cooper. Robert saying good draft. Brian Bell is a smaller tight end. Would like to see a second wide receiver, grade B plus. Yeah, like I mean, obviously the Byron Murphy, he's not likely to be there at 35, but that's an amazing pick. I mean, I kind of like the Chop Robinson pick, but it is a projection, based on the athletic trait. So that's kind of interesting. So overall, though, good job. I also want to see a second wide receiver, probably if it's me, but yeah. Next up, we have Chris Young. He's got a trade back, and he's got Rome Odunze, who I love. Is there? Then he's also got Chop Robinson. No, Darius Robinson. I'm sorry, at Missouri in pick 32. So there's some other trading going on here. I think he did a couple trade backs. So Darius Robinson, who I took on mine. Then we got Leonard Taylor, defensive tackle in Miami, so really beefing up the defensive line. TJ Tampa at 38. Ben Snott out of Kansas at 66. Cole Bishop, safety at 71. Kieran, I'm not going to even try to pronounce the last name, but a tackle out of Yale. Yeah, and then I like this player. I don't know if I don't think he's gonna last that long. Mike Sinister, Sinistro. I'm butchering it. But he's I like him. He's
the best slot corner in the draft. He's the best slot corner.
Absolutely. And then we got Brandon Coleman, guard out of TCU, Brendan Rice, wide receiver out of USC, and then Satoa Lumea, I know I butchered that, guard out of Utah. What's your favorite pick here?
I'm shocked Brendan Rice is at 122. Shocked. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I like that Cole Bishop pickup a lot. But I would have to say it has to be Rome Odunze. He's a problem. Bro is the definition of a problem. He's tall. He has long arms. He catches everything. He's fast. He's kind of the complete package of wide receiver, honestly. I'm not the biggest fan of his route running, but everything else, I'm a big fan of everything else. So that has to be my favorite pick on all of them.
I love Rome Odunze. The comp that people keep saying, at least in terms of the way he plays, how he's pretty good at everything, is Larry Fitzgerald. People are now not necessarily saying he's going to. I mean, that's like one of the best of all times, right? So I'm not saying he's going to be that good, but the player profile, right? Someone who he might not be Tariq Hill fast, but he's fast. He's big. He's fast. He's good route running. He's above average at everything, right? To very good at everything, just the complete package. So I love that. I really like the cornerback out of Michigan at 95. I don't know if he'll last that long, but that was really kind of.
I love Mike Sammers too. I don't even think Bro got the second round.
Yeah.
Second round.
We got Paul G. What's up, my friend Paul? Good to see you. Thanks for being here.
Good.
So got some, Taylor really depends on the interviews, right? Does he love ball? He was a bit disgruntled in Miami. Said some things about his work ethic, right? Kieran, the tackle, 36-inch arms. I wonder how good he'll be against NFL competition. Jay likes the tackle as well. Let's see, Johnson Snott, and Al. I would need to watch more film, rank properly, but I think Al is the best of ACL's good to go, right? How many comp picks next year's draft picks? I don't know that we're going to get any comp picks next year. I think we've been kind of active.
Y'all too active.
Yeah. So I wouldn't expect that, right? So Robert, good draft. Could trade guard for wide receiver B. Okay. All right. So next up we have Judai, who was in he was in the chat earlier. So if you're here, say hey again.
This is similar to what I did.
Yeah, I like it. We got Marvin Harrison Jr., Zon Newton. We got Zach Frazier, and as we know, the almighty chart. The almighty chart says that is not allowed. But no. But Xavier Leggett, love the love that pick for sure. Right, I like doubling up on the receiver. There he is.
What up, gangster?
Judai. All right. So love doubling up on those receivers. Christian Haynes, like that, getting that guard. Then, Devondre Sweat, if he's there at 90, I love that. We talked about now. Again, I don't think they're going to get two interior defensive linemen with all the guys they signed, but I do like getting one, whichever. So for me, it's one. Elijah Jones, we got a cornerback there, so they could use that. Grayson Murphy got an edge there. Javon Foster, tackle, who I also took. So thinking the same kind of thing there, right? And halfback Cody Schrader, and then tight end Tanner McLaughlin. All right, what's your favorite pick here, Tone?
I mean, outside Marvin Harrison Jr., that would probably be everyone's favorite.
Right.
So I want to go obvious there. I mean, Jersey and Newton, someone I picked, so I love that one, obviously. Xavier Legette with Marv is going to be disgusting. That sounds nasty. Two guys that can do almost everything. He's a beautiful compliment to Marvin too.
Yeah,
Marvin probably the guy that won a high point of football all the time and do those like the dirty work. So kind of like, okay, you don't do the dirty work, Marv. That's cool. Hey, Xavier, do the dirty work, bro.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. I love Xavier Legette there.
I like that too. There's obviously you love Marvin Harrison Jr. I love Newton, but that's kind of the pick. I really like that Legette. There's a lot of good picks here. Robert likes it. Good draft today. A there. So no, I think it's a solid draft. I'm not going center early there because of the almighty chart, right? But yeah. But overall, really good mock.
Chart.
Oh, dude, it's a thing in the Discord, man.
My God.
Yeah. And then Judai says this was before the third defensive tackle sign plus Red Sea would kill me if I took anything less than 2, right? Right. So that's fair. Right? So, okay. Let's see. Dana's saying, Legette's hands worry me. Some people I trust say that he say that can be top, but I still hesitate with receivers that can't receive no matter how good the routes, the separation. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, I like it. It's a good mock. I like it a lot. Next up, we got hiding out now. He's got a trade back Rome Odunze. I don't think Rome lasts to pick 11, but boy, if they pulled that off, I'd be like, woo. Then he did a trade back up. Byron Murphy the second, the defensive tackle. That's a nice combo. You pulled that off. The Cardinals pulled that off. That's nice. Full sure. Guard Graham Barton out of Duke at 27. I think and PFF has him as a tackle, but he's going to probably be a guard. With that one, the almighty chart says heretic, right? Yeah. But then we've got Darius Robinson, edge at 35. Leonard Taylor, again, defensive tackle. Peyton Wilson, linebacker. Jonathan Brooks, running back out of Texas, like that. And Johnny Wilson, receiver out of Florida State. And I think he might have just done through those rounds. What's your favorite pick here?
That's tough. Jonathan Brooks. Oh, he. There's no way he should be there at 90. First of all,
right.
He's the best running back in this draft. First of all. Secondly, him with James Conner sounds like hell for everyone. That has to tackle both of these folks. It's a problem. Jonathan Brooks. I'm not saying it's not even close. I love Rome Odunze as well. The Byron Murphy pick was great. Johnny Wilson's interesting. I'm not a big fan of these big fake me out receivers that need to play tight end. That's exactly what I think that Johnny Wilson is. He's playing a fraud card. My man should be a tight end for real and not a receiver. But that's just my thing.
Robert says I heard Barton has character issues. Other than that, good draft, A-. Okay. Yeah. I love some of these picks. I know Dana really likes Barton at tackle, but he may be even better at guard. Yeah. So overall, I love that Jonathan Brooks pick too. Getting him there. I think we don't, and Cardinals fans don't talk running back a lot in the draft this year because we love James Conner. But I think getting a guy behind him to develop and or in case of injury, I think is something they're going to do. So I love that pick. So next up, we've got Motto 187, who I know has been in the chat tonight. He's got to trade back, then Roma Dunze, right? Then he's got to trade up. Latu, the edge out of UCLA, really love him. I think there's been some health issues, but he's really good. Then at 27, so he's got 3 first-round picks. Cornerback Nate Wiggins, right? And who love that, right? And then edge Chris Braswell at pick 35. Then guard Christian Haynes, halfback Jonathan Brooks, then cornerback Dwight McLeathern, center Drake Nugent, edge Jalen Green, who you talked about earlier, and then safety Katan Oladapo. I probably butchered that. What's your favorite pick here, and what do you think, Tom?
This is spicy.
Mm-hmm.
This is spicy. My man he got 2 edge rushers. That's kind of crazy. I'm gonna say Latu.
Yeah.
He's an animal.
Mm-hmm.
Dude's an animal. He's just an animal. I nothing else to say. Oh, and Dana, I watched the all 22s of Jonathan Brooks before I say how much I like them. So keep that in mind.
So this is the Minnesota trade. So, but then I think a trade back up, right? Probably.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. So yeah. It looks like to me. I love the fact he doubled up on the edge rusher position. You can never have enough pass rushers. Robert, you can never have enough pass rushers. Never. Never. Man, have 8 of them. Send them all. Send the team. Never had enough edge rushers. I don't care. Never.
Dana says early for.
I love this haul in general, but
yeah.
It's Latu.
Dana says early for Braswell and Southern, maybe, but both are solid. Yeah, he doesn't think this happens, but just having fun. I'll tell you what, I really like this a lot. Roma Dunze, then get Latu, and then Wiggins, and then Braswell, Brooks. I really like this a lot. And actually, Nugent is, I think, a nice center. He's got some good athleticism. So there. So, yeah. I actually really like this mock draft a lot. So, yeah. All right. Next up, we've got Erva. I don't know if you're in the chat, but if you are, say hey. Marvin Harrison Jr., then Kool-Aid McKinstry, Christian Haynes, guard. That's kind of early for a guard. For the old chart says no. No, but
no.
Michael Hall Jr., defensive line out of Ohio State. Then we've got the tackle out of Yale that we talked about earlier. Jeremiah Trotter, then Blake Corum, running back. Mason Smith, defensive line out of LSU. Josh Proctor, safety. Then Bo Limmer, center out of Arkansas. We got a kicker out of Arkansas. And Cedric Johnson, edge out of Ole Miss. All right, so what you thinking? What's your favorite pick here?
Gotta go with my man Kool-Aid, man. My man Kool-Aid. Can't go wrong with a dude named Kool-Aid.
Right. Yeah, I like that. I like getting that there. I think I had it in mind. I think there's a lot of good picks here. The Blake Corum pick is interesting. The linebacker Trotter. Yeah, I like that. So I'm going to mention though, Michael Hall Jr. is interesting. He's very athletic. He's a little bit smaller, but very good first step as a defensive lineman. So that's kind of an interesting one, right? Yeah. Mono saying the same thing, right? So yeah. So overall, I think it's a good mock, though. I mean, obviously, Marvin Harrison Jr., Kool-Aid McKinstry, addressed a lot of important positions. I'm probably going edge earlier, but yeah. Dana's saying I think the Yale kid would go earlier from a different school, right? Yeah. So overall, though, good job on this one. Next up, we got O-Cards. He's got Harrison Jr. and Kool-Aid McKinstry again, right? Then Byron Murphy ends up being at 35. Probably not going to happen in real life. Then we've got defensive line Mason Smith out of LSU, Brendan Rice, Brandon Dorless, then Kyrie Jackson, cornerback out of Oregon, Mason McCormick, who we talked about earlier, Braylon Allen, Ben Snott, Garrett Greenfield, Dominique Hampton, then Ryan Watts, and Braden McGregor. Okay, what's your favorite pick here? Oh, is this here we go, double up all 4 biggest needs. Okay, there we go. What's your favorite?
I'm gonna say Brendan Rice. I just think he's a technician. You can never have enough of those in your wide receiver room. And with him and Harrison, that just 2 sons of legends. That just sounds like a match made in heaven for Kyler Murray. I can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, and they had a visit with him, right? Top 30 visit, I think. So that's a guy they're looking at. So like I've said it multiple times tonight, I like doubling up on receiver in this draft, right? With the all the guys they had moved on. Obviously, I love the Mason McCormick pick, right? So that's for sure. Jade Greenstein, I really hope we draft Kyrie Jackson, right? Getting that cornerback out of Oregon. That'd be a nice pick, right? And then, Mono says Rice is Pacheco of wide receivers. He runs angry, right? So there we go. Robert says one too many cornerbacks. Other than that, good draft, A-. Okay. So overall, though, I like this draft. I think this is good. Next up, we have Canucks 3322. I don't think I've seen him in the chat, but if you're here, say hey. Marvis Harrison, then Byron Murphy II. Probably wouldn't be. They probably have to move up to get him, but if that happened, I love that. Then we got cornerback Ennis Rakestraw out of Missouri. And then Junior Colson, linebacker out of Michigan. We talked about him earlier. Devontae Walker, wide receiver, North Carolina. Got the tackle out of Yale that we've talked about a few times. And the cornerback out of Michigan, who I know we both really like. Mason McCormick, love that. Blake Corum, Xavier Thomas, edge out of Clemson. Dylan McMahon, that's they got enlisted here as a guard, but I think he's more. He was a center in college, but that's the guy I talked about last week. Then Gabriel Murphy, edge. All right, what you think, Tone? What's your favorite pick here?
Interesting. I'm gonna say Tez Walker out of North Carolina, because I don't see no one really picking him as early as this, honestly. And I think Tez Walker really did help Drake May a lot as well. I don't think it was a one-way street, unlike with Elite Neighbors helping Jane Daniels. No offense, Jane Daniels, but I think Tez Walker did help Drake May take his game to another level, and I think he can help Kyler as well. So I love that. I love that as well. I think he's a great compliment to Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, for sure. Mizaki Felix saying Arizona cannot draft another cornerbacks. Well, the tough part with that is you only can have about 4 or 5 of them in your cornerback room. So, I mean, I think they've signed a free agent, Murphy Bunting. They got a guy, Garrett Williams, they drafted last year, who showed a lot of promise. They probably have room to, they've got Keitrell Clark, who, maybe more of a depth, we'll see. I think they got room to draft maybe 2 of them. I think is about as many as you can get, probably without one of them having to be a practice squad guy that you hope you don't lose. I'm honestly saying I like this. Corm at 138, though, might not last that long, right? Robert saying I really like this draft, 2 guards, but it's a later round guard, solid A. Yeah, I like this draft a lot too. I think it's a really good one, right? So yeah, we do need new starting cornerbacks, but what we need is quality, not quantity. I guess that's kind of my feedback there from what your first comment was. Like, well, it's not that you can draft enough. You can draft too many, actually. But for me, if they draft, I want them to draft. They need to draft a top tier guy, right? Dan is saying Rakestraw may have to move to slot nickel against bigger receivers, so no outside corner in this draft. To me, they need a true one. They're probably going to play Murphy Bunting at 1 this year, but they need to draft a guy that they can develop into that, I think so. But overall, I really like this mock a lot. Next up, we got Fallen Angel 0312. Marvin Harrison, Jerzon Newton again, Coolid McKinstry. That looks a little familiar, right? Then we got edge Marshawn Nealon out of Western Michigan, Tafondre Sweat, Mason McCormack. We've talked about him a lot. DJ James, cornerback out of Auburn. Grayson Murphy, edge out of UCLA. Dylan Johnson, halfback out of Washington. Jordan Whittington, wide receiver out of Texas. And then linebacker Dallas Gant out of Toledo. Your thoughts?
Favorite pick here. Grayson Murphy out of UCLA. I mean, he's super underrated. I think he's super underrated. I think he's a guy that be one of like those like mid-round picks no one thinks about. Had like an 8.5, 9 sack rookie year. Like, who the heck is this guy?
Mm-hmm.
Where he come from? Who's this dude? Who that? Why we ain't draft him? Like he be that guy. Why we ain't draft him? Like
right.
I think he'll be one of those consistent 8.5, 9 sack guys. Kind of like had Montez Sweat is before he had that blow up year this year with 1.5. I think he'll be like a constant 7.5 to 9 sack guy every single year and just be a really solid edge rusher for you.
That's a nice number. Everyone talks about 10 sacks, but like there's only a handful of guys that get 10 sacks in a given season. Like it's not as many as people think, right? So yeah. Zach saying, let me clarify, I want to draft 2 cornerbacks in the first 3 rounds. Okay. Yeah, we need to get, if we're going to draft one, we need to draft one in the top couple rounds, I think. Robert Moore, I like this draft as well. Really good, solid A, right? Yeah, I like it as well. Mono saying, I wish that we had a Commanders mock for this show, that I made a Commanders mock. Do we know who's the guest next week? Yeah, let me check that real quick because I do have scheduled that out. Oh, y'all are gonna love it. It's my good buddy Payo time.
Zach!
Zach Payo, who has been on here before, is going to be my guest next week. So.
Yes. I can't wait for that one.
Yeah, Zach's a great guy. We all love Zach around
awesome.
here. Even if he is a Rams fan. but yeah. No, this is a really good mock. Mono. Oh, it's on. I love it.
Nah, it's on.
All right, but yeah, no, Fallen Angel, this is a really good mock, right? Nothing but crap picks for the Rams. Yeah.
I'm dead.
All right, so yeah, good mock here. Next up, we have Robert Moore in the house. All right, we're gonna have to give this one a letter grade because he's been handing out grades. He's got some trades going on here. Malik Neighbors at 11. He won't be there 11, but well, that's nice, right? Jerzon Noonan 23. Latu at 27, then Devondre Sweat, defensive line at 39. We got the tackle out of Yale against 66. Trotter at 71. Cam Hart, cornerback. Then Blake Corum, like that. Theo Johnson, tight end. Marcus Rosemary Jackson, I guess, wide receiver of Georgia. Tyke Smith, safety out of Georgia. Then Demar Glaze, Maryland, interior offensive line. And then Robert said he did this based on the news with the Minnesota trade, right? So Grant Anderson, oh no, not Payo, not that guy. Red Sea definitely trading the Rams first round pick for a kicker.
Oh no.
Payo and his lamb chop, right?
Lamb chop.
All right, so what do you think, Tone?
All right, first off, no offense, Malik May was not be there 11. I'm gonna cut that out. Secondly, I like that Cam Hart pickup a lot.
Mm-hmm.
That Cam Hart pickup, I think he could be a CB1. And if you can get a cornerback 1, the 9th pick in the draft, that's an absolute steal.
Mm-hmm.
That's my favorite pick for sure.
That's a nice pick, yeah. I love that. Blake Corum, obviously getting that running back in Michigan. That's nice too. Getting edge rusher. For me, again, I've talked about this. I don't think we're going that many defensive linemen, especially not that early after all the free agents. But love the players. So there's a couple of players there, like Neighbors isn't going to be there 11. So, but that's really great, right? Jay saying I like Rosemary's Jack Saint. He had very few drops, right? So yeah, I'm going to give this Robert Moore. I'm going to give this grade.
This is Robert. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. So we got a grade.
You want to grade me, right?
Yeah. What grade are you going to give him, Tone?
All right. So I argue a C because Malik Neighbors not going to be there. If I'm not counting that.
Yeah. I mean, if you pulled that off, if you got Malik Neighbors at 11, that's an A, right? But I'm gonna go B+. And the reason I brought it down, I mean, Malik Neighbors at 11, Malik Neighbors won't be there, but if you got that's amazing. I'm giving it a B+ because I think that's too many interior defensive line too early based on the free agency moves they've made. I think one of those two guys I'm fine with. But the rest of the picks are overall pretty good. So I'm giving it a B+, right?
Plus,
So
good job. Good
yeah.
job, Robert.
But some folks liking it, right? You know, Gus Bus.
Bus.
Yeah, one of your boys. This Cardinals draft is amazing.
Gus.
Right. Mono thinks it's a good one, right? Paul's pointing out that Aeneas Williams was a 3rd round pick. Absolutely. And you know, Dan is saying Jack Saint is raw on choice routes versus zone, but a good player. And you know, Cardinals last year got a guy in the 3rd round that Garrett Williams, you know, who played really well and I think is going to be a solid player for us. So overall, yeah, Robert, this is a good mock, even, you know, B+, but good. Next up, we got Mr. Money Manetti. He's got Marvin Harrison, Chloe McKinstry. Then we got offensive tackle Amarius Mims. Then Peyton Wilson, linebacker. Then Mason Smith, defensive line. Adisa Isaac, edge out of Penn State. Brandon Allen, running back. We've got Katan Oladapo, safety out of Oregon State. Xavier, I'm butchering it. Gadlin out of Liberty into our offensive line, Jared Wiley at tight end out of TCU, and Christian Boyd, defensive line out of Northern Iowa. What do you think here, Tone?
I love the whole haul. All got favorite pick. I love it all. I love it all. A+. Have a good night. You did a great job on that. Perfect. Perfecto. Magnifico. Perfect.
I think it's a good draft. I think I'm not going tackle that early now, even though Mims has all the tools with Jonah Williams. I'm going tackle on day 3 to develop, but he's a great player. I'd rather use that pick on a different position. That's me, like edge or something, you know. But yeah. Dan is saying Christian Boyd will go earlier. These mocks have him slate because he missed combine, as I understand. Okay, yeah. You know, Theo Johnson, RAS monster, right? Yeah, very athletic. He was in the last one. But overall, I like it. I mean, you know, again, I wouldn't go tackle there. But you know, Robert gives it A-, right? So nice. Next up, we got Lance Sherrick, who submitted this on Twitter, longtime subscriber to the channel. So he only did days 1 and 2, but he's got Marvin Harrison Jr. Cool. This is a familiar pattern, right? We've got Harrison, McKinstry, and then Newton. Like you had that, and then Tavondre Sweat, receiver Johnny Wilson out of Florida State, and Trey Benson out of Florida State. We got a couple of Florida State guys. So obviously love Marvin Harrison Jr., love McKinstry right there. Love Newton. Like I've said multiple times, I'm not going that many defensive linemen early after all those free agents. I don't mind one, but I'm not going too early. There's other positions I'd rather take, like edge with one of those. Love doubling up on receiver though. You know, so you got Johnny Wilson, then Trey Benson's really good running back. Getting a running back there, I like that. So overall, good. What do you think, Tom?
I like all the picks for Johnny Wilson. I just think Johnny Wilson is playing the wrong position. I just think he's a tight end. I'm not gonna lie to you. Like he looks like a tight end. He played like a tight end. He just looks like a tight end to me. But I love Trey Benson. I love the Sweat pick. I do agree you would take an edge there.
Yeah.
The Newton pick, she's a disruptor. She's going to be a disruptor. That's just going to be. Kool-Aid is cool. I know. I love a dude named Kool-Aid. I like a guy named Kool-Aid. That's pretty cool. And then the legend, soon to be Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to be a lot of Kyle to Maserati Marv sounds beautiful. It's just Maserati Marv.
Yeah.
Kyle like this. He couldn't breastfeed a kid better.
Yeah. Right. Gus Bus here saying, don't really need Johnny Wilson size given Marvin Harrison Jr. already 6'4". Yeah. Like, I think for me, the second receiver, I really want to be a speed guy because and I know Marvin Harrison Jr. is fast, but like, you know, we've got on the outside, we've got Michael Wilson, who's a big receiver, but not super fast, you know, just kind of okay speed, but not great, but big, right? And then Marvin Harrison Jr., sure, you know, he or Doomsday, whoever we get there is going to be fast. Then we got, you know, Greg Dortch, who's shifty, but not necessarily a burner, right? You know, but what we need is that guy to take the top off the defense who just runs go routes. Hollywood Brown could have been that guy for us, but they obviously left in free agency. I actually even think Rondale Moore could have been that, but they were using him as, you know, kind of a gadget guy, and then they traded him. So that second receiver for me, I prefer it to be a guy who's got crazy speed, right? To kind of take the top off the defense. And as a rookie, even if you just have him go out there, say run the go route, even if you don't throw him to him, the defense has to respond to that. They're not going to let him get a free release, right? So yeah. All right, but overall, I like this. I think there's some really good players here. Good job, Lance. Next up is that's it. We've gotten through all of them. So a couple quick comments, and thanks for everyone who's jumped in, all the folks that are here, and then folks that jumped in from you as well, your community of folks, like Gus Bus and some of the other folks. But Dana's saying to her, Kool-Aid is a free safety NFL. He's the best ball hawking in zone. Okay. He's Gus saying, give me Malachi Corley at 71 instead.
I like Malachi Corley a lot.
Yeah. So, all right. Well, we've gotten through all the mock drafts. We've done our mock drafts. We've done our player profile. Had a lot of fun. Tone, I appreciate you being here, hanging out with me, man. You're a good dude. One of the things I love about doing this is I get to meet just really great folks like you and Payo, who's going to be here next week. It's just that's
really fun.
Absolutely. So, Tone, why don't you tell folks again where they can find you, what they can expect from you, and then we'll get out of here.
Oh yeah, man. So yeah, y'all can find me on YouTube at PSN Commanders Network. Also, I actually have a second channel, but I used to comment early on. It's called Life of Tone, aka a lot. That stuff. The main channel is for like Commander stuff, also NFL stuff. I sprinkle a little bit of Sixers stuff. Any of you Sixers fans in here? I don't know if you feel Sixers fan, but a little bit of NBA here and there, like trade deadlines, stuff like that. So y'all want to watch that stuff, you can. On the Lot channel is mostly reaction videos, vlogs, and fashion stuff. You got like, what I'm saying, what AB say, put that ish on, what you want to say. Can't say the word on here. I ain't trying to get Joe demonetized, so I'm not gonna say that word on here. But put that on. If you like that kind of stuff, you can watch that as well. You can find me at Twitter or X, whatever you want to call this stupid.
I call it Twitter.
Twitter.
I'm always gonna call it
at PSN042893. I hate calling it X. I can't stand Elon Musk.
Yeah.
Whatever. And then you can find me on Instagram, the Gram, and Protech Sports Network _ as well, Life of Tone _ if you want to follow the other YouTube page as well. Founder of both channels, so if y'all want to go ahead and subscribe to both, I appreciate it. And yeah, man, I have a lot of fun over there on the tube, man. So shout out to Joe for having me on.
Oh man, well, I appreciate you jumping on. It's always good to catch up with you. Make sure you're following Tone. Both his YouTube and Twitter links are in the description. So we're gonna get out of here. I'm gonna throw up the channel member shout outs, and then we'll get the theme song and get out of here. So we'll see y'all next time, everyone. Peace.
I'll be easy.